In fact, we have Dr. Kaia Naataanbuu in the guest.
Thank you, thank you.
We have Brother Omar Baruti in the studio.
Yes, thank you very much.
And as usual, Brother Dr. Talut, El-Amin, partner and friend, go way back. But first I want to say something about Sister Desi X at 975 Thomas Street at the House of Knowledge. Pre-child care, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, and 5-year-olds who function at the first and second grade level. Give her a call, 901-277-5197. And do not forget Brother Jabril Shabazz at the Marcus Garvey Teaching and Learning Institute, located at Parkway and Lauderdale, 901-643-6271. Keyword, learning, teaching, and learning. I of Kwanzaa Incorporated, 901-292-50099. Contact Sister Ayodele Kofi for more information. Now, want to go to our illustrious guests and continue to bring the gospel, real knowledge, and good cheer. Want to go to Dr. Kaia.
Yes, sir.
First. Dr. Kaia, I must say that your program comes across as solution-oriented. Am I correct in saying so?
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
One of the things that when we talk about, we can go on in dialogue about our situation. But the question is, what do we do?
Okay.
And how do we do it? And the one way that we can do it is through our culture. Because we have to change the mental status in our brains as a people in this country who has suffered over 400 years of slavery. So we were made over people in the image of our slave masters. And with that said, that means they think for us, provide for us. So we have to start providing for ourselves. One way we can do that is to know who you are, who we are as a people, and know about ourselves.
Sounds good. Brother Baruti, you guys have it. I'm looking at your brochure and all of the information. And you see, I was out in the community, and you see I picked up a brochure on my own.
Yes,
Oh, yes, sir.
You guys have an educational component to your program.
Yes, sir.
Now, last week, you said something that I let get by, and someone mentioned it to me, and they want to hear more about it. Your son bypassed the master's program and went into the doctor's program.
That's what he's about to do.
Okay, so can you tell us how that works? And I'm assuming that your group and organization has something to do with, I see you have your very intelligent daughter here as well. So I see that education is very important in you guys' program. Can you tell us a little bit?
It is very important. You know, my dad could not read or write. He signed his name as Ed X.
Okay.
Because during his day, farming was the key, and they would take the children out of school. So at the 3rd grade, that was the end of his education. But he was so, it was so important in his life that he made sure that I got as far as I could go. Mm-hmm. And then, since that was imbued in me, I sent that on to my children. And with Memphis Kwanzaa, we know that one of the biggest things that we suffer with is a lack of education. Somewhere around 3rd grade, our children started falling behind. And I heard Hillary Clinton say at the Hispanic prayer breakfast that states are using the test scores and the reading scores of children to figure out how many prison cells to build. And our children are the ones they're primarily building them for. And so in my home, and as well as in Dr. Kaia's home and others, we stress reading. Our children see us read. We encourage them to read. In school, what they really should do is give you a big trophy for being an honor roll student and give you a certificate for being a football player.
Yeah.
Right now, we emphasize the athletics and we de-emphasize the education. That's backwards.
That is absolutely true.
One of the things, Brother Wallace, I want to reiterate here.
Go ahead.
All too often, we think of education as graduating from high school, you get a high school diploma, and then you go off to college and you prepare yourself to come out of a higher learning institution, which is really a business now. that lure our students into that false concept that if you get a college degree, that you're going to get a job, or a good job. But that's not always true, because there are some people who have not had a formal education that learn how to do things with their hands, such as carpentry, bricklaying, sheetrocking, electrician. I could go on and on.
Yes.
And those people make just as much money
They do.
as a professional person.
Yes.
So with a creative mind and a healthy body, you can get up and make some things happen for yourself. But in order to do that, you have to feel good about yourself and know who you are to make that happen, and know your place in the community and your role as a father, as a mother, a daughter, etc. And go on, you see.
Right. I want to go to the good Dr. Talut here. We saw last week or 2 weeks ago, or whenever it was, 13 schools are being closed down. Is that right? And then there's something that we've talked about a lot on this show, is education and the children, etc. And we've talked about the miseducation of the Wilson and all that. Bring into a little bit more perspective, if you will, about what's going on and what should happen, solution-oriented, and relative to this new closing of these schools. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, of course, education is one of the most important things that you can inspire yourself as well as your children to undertake. But when you get down to the economics of education, that's sometimes above our heads. In closing schools and building schools, that's the economic, that's the commercial side of education. And trust me, there are people who make fortunes out of our tax treasure to build and close schools. Okay, they make a tremendous amount of money doing it. So the commercial side, the business side of it, is much more powerful than educating the students. My emphasis would be on, as far as a solution to our problem, our unique problem here, our parents should put more into educating their children at home.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and educating them at home means preparing them to make a living, not necessarily get to the highest level of corporate education. That's what I call it, corporate. Preparing us to go into the corporate world and work for the rest of our lives and retire and all that. Those days are over. So what we have to do now is educate our children in the home, inspire them in ways that would help them develop their own intellect and put that into the use of their hands and building their own means of livelihood.
Okay, Brother Baruti, sounds like you want to jump in there.
Yeah, because you know, my son he's in biochemistry, and when I asked him what he wanted to do with his PhD degree, he said, I want to set up my own biochemical research laboratory. He never said, I want to go work for corporate America. I want to get a job at at some other place or teaching at university level. I want to set up my own, because all of his days he's seen me in business for myself. I've been in business for myself since 1972.
Oh, very good.
And so he feels like that's the way to go, and I tell him all the time that is the only way to go.
Okay, I want to go to Dr. Kaia now. I see on your brochure here you have exactly what we've been talking about. You have parenting classes that take place at your institution.
Yes, at the Memphis Kwanzaa Culture, Health, and Education Center. We have to teach the parents how to be parents, because now we have children having children. And all too often there's no parent in the household, and the children have become parents. I was just at a program, at a meeting for the Hamilton High School alumni. They were trying to put some things together to save Hamilton, the community of Hamilton. What they found was that the Hamiltonians are not living in the community anymore, so that property has become inherited by other people who that did not grow up in that community. So we found that parents have lacked the skills of being able to teach children, even when it comes to the basics of phonics, learning your numbers, how to communicate with your child, rather than with all the derogatory terms that we refer to our children. And I hear it in my profession every day. Then we have the job readiness for the parents who, if they're unfortunate and they didn't graduate from high school, we offer a GED training to help them pass that exam, and then we have people committed who, as I said before, brick masons that will come in and teach these young people that are parents the skill of laying bricks. It is a lot of work in construction if you know how to do that. We have people committed that want to come and teach carpentry. I don't know if you remember or not, Wallace, but back in the day when I was in high school, shop was the, you know, and instead of going to Home Depot buying cabinets to make your kitchen look better, you learn how to build those cabinets. So those are the types of job readiness programs that we offer as well. And then of course you see the tutoring, and that's for the kids that are in school who aspire, if they're having trouble with algebra, English, math, whatever, we have people who are educated that are willing to come back to offer tutoring to the students for free. All these services are free. We are not asking any tax dollars. We're not asking any specific interest group to sponsor us. You know, we have to do for ourselves. And even with the statement that you made last week, Doctor, about even if it's wrong, at least we got to get started. Get started.
Exactly.
Well, give out your contact information, phone number, address, location, so we can call you, come by, stop by, go on a tour, or set up an appointment, or get prepared to come into your, and bring others in.
Yes, but for sure, during the Kwanzaa celebration, we have numerous events that are going to be held there.
Okay.
The address is 1549 Elvis Presley Boulevard, Memphis, Tennessee 38106. Our P.O. Box number is P.O. Box 9010 38190. Contact information 901-239-1555 or 901-249-4563.
Okay. And do not forget to send your donations for continued service and information. P.O. Box 41573. And if you're out there and you want to get on the phone, 901-327-3400. And Dr. Talut, that's something we talk about a lot. And we've always talked about culture and family, economics, and that the loss of those things that mean pretty much, we can look out and see that. We talked about home economics a lot on this particular show. So we're now talking about family and parenting and home. So how do we proceed to get that message out?
Well, first and foremost, I think.
Go ahead.
No. I think that we have to accept the fact that as African Americans or Black Americans, we have lived according to a failed program.
Yes.
Okay, we have failed as a people, and we have to accept that. Now that's hard, you know, and it's difficult to say and admit, but that's the first step in recovery. Accept responsibility, right?
That's right.
And then you move forward.
That's right.
So we have to recover, okay? And the way we're gonna have to do that is we're gonna have to accept the fact that what we were taught hasn't worked. Case in history, look around us. The world has gone ahead of us by centuries, not decades, by centuries. We're far behind all other ethnic groups. Okay, and it's our responsibility to teach ourselves. There's nobody coming.
That's right.
Nobody's coming to lead us out of our despicable conditions. We're going to have to do that ourselves.
No one is coming.
Nobody's coming. Okay, and if we don't accept leadership and we don't put our money behind our growth, we're going to stay in this despicable condition and get worse.
Now, are you saying that the burden is on those who know?
The burden, yes,
on
absolutely,
those,
no question about
on
that.
those who know.
Yeah. But and the burden is on the people to finance their own future.
That's right.
We got to pay for that.
That's right.
Dr.
Kaia,
That's right.
Yeah, you said that last week. Dr. Kaia, it sounded like you want to jump in there. Go ahead.
Yes, and Dr. Talut, what I wanted to add to that is you're correct. No one is going to save us. So we have to learn through the 7 principles of the Nguzo Sala
Yeah.
how to do that.
Yes.
And it teaches us, it guides us, and if we incorporate those 7 principles into our life, I guarantee you that is the savior for us today. And for me, when I grew up in the community, I was able to walk to school. We had teachers who were concerned about us, and no child was hungry. And the teachers cared, and they even went home to the community to see what was going on in that household, the reason why this child came to school hungry, didn't have clothes. That was provided for it. We didn't have a grant to come in and to feed us and teach us, but we can do that ourselves. And that's why it's imperative. And I urge the listening audience to come out to Kwanzaa, no matter where it's taking place.
Yes.
Go to these various celebrations that's happening throughout this community. Because Memphis Kwanzaa International, we're not the only ones. However, I thank my mother who had the vision 36 years ago to found Memphis Kwanzaa, because this was the original organization that for the cultural growth that has happened in this community was because of the sweat and brow of my mom. And she passed that fire to me. So we invite people to come out so you can learn, Brother Wallace, what the 7 principles are and get a taste of Mother Africa and food, music, through libation, through children, and it's free except for one event. That's the soiree, the gala.
Okay. Well, I've got a double question, and I'd like for all 3 of you to address these 2 questions, if
Yes,
you don't
sir.
mind. Truth. Have you found that African Americans tend, even those of us, those who are in the movement, tend not to tell African Americans the truth, and is that devastating? And do African Americans tend not to want to hear the truth, as you have so eloquently stated about their condition? You know, is that it was a double? Here's the second question. I want all 3 of you. And also, do the principles of Kwanzaa seem to be taken for granted by African Americans? Unity, emoji, core economics, and that, you know, we do a little thing. It does not seem to be. I mean, those are powerful words.
Yes.
And if they work and we work them, that's a powerful, that would put this group that we're talking about, our group, in a higher state of productivity. So can we get the 3 of you to educate us a little bit?
I would go first.
Go ahead.
Well, the inability of our people to accept the truth is an effect of slavery.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
It's a direct effect of slavery.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, no one has really done any real deep or studies in depth about how slavery actually affected Black Americans as well as Caucasian Americans. It hasn't been one. But we can clearly see with our own eyes as to how we relate with each other that we're extremely divisive.
That's right.
And so you can't accept the truth based on the principle of divisiveness. You have to be unified to accept the truth. And we are not unified. So we can never accept the truth.
Okay.
And your second question was,
Taking the principles of these powerful principles
Yes.
for granted.
yeah,
And not
my thinking is this about Kwanzaa, if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Kwanzaa.
Right. As I mentioned last week, this is an organization that has had longevity.
Yeah.
It's been around a long time.
Right.
In other words.
Right.
And
in spite of
right, and the principles of that organization are dedicated, loyal, and sincere, obviously, by the lifespan of the organization. So, if we think in our minds that some shadow group or more recent organized group is going to address our concern, sure they are, but it's going to be later on. It may be decades later. So why not support an organization that has been around for a while? Okay? We should get behind organizations like Kwanzaa. Okay? And I'm going to say it again.
Go ahead.
And finance them.
right. And therein lies the responsibility of the people.
That's the people's.
Okay. Brother Baruti.
You know, this is supposed to be a post-racial society, and we don't want to see the truth. But the truth is that 1.3 million black men are in prison today. The truth is that 2,000 of our children are in prison, 14 to 18 years old, life without the option for parole. The truth is that we have children who have already committed some kind of felony and have disenfranchised themselves from the legal job market forever. The truth is that we don't have any choice but to come together. So last night I was up to 3:30 this morning, sending out over 1,100 emails to our audience, asking them that when Kwanzaa is over on January the 1st, we have got to come together. These speakers, I don't want them just speaking just words. I want us to organize after Kwanzaa. Somewhere at 1549 Elvis Presley, we got to come together and put together a program so we can save our children from the madness that they're in right now.
Absolutely. That reminds me of an old cliche, that theory without practice is empty. Two things. The closing of these schools, 13 of them coming up, and the aspect that you just spoke on about the imprisonment of young and old African-American males, those are crucial issues. And I hear you guys moving in a solution-oriented direction. Dr. Kaia, can you say a few things about any aspect of your program?
One of the most important aspects of Kwanzaa, if you don't take anything else, is to understand that we have been miseducated and we need to re-educate ourselves. And we can only solve our problems. We can't expect someone else outside the community who doesn't even live in the community to understand the pains of our people and have experienced some of those sufferings as a result of slavery. The other aspect that's very important in Kwanzaa is our health. We are perishing daily by major illnesses that plagues our community. And I don't care how much education you give a person in terms of book and literacy, but if without a healthy mind and a healthy body, just think about it. You have a very healthy body and you got a sick mind. That doesn't work. I don't care how much education you give that person, it's not going to work.
That's extreme contradiction.
It's very. And then to have a healthy mind and you dragging around a sick body, that's not going to work either. So then we pass through generations of learned behavior of bad health, physically and mentally. At the center, we will be addressing issues concerning our health. We will be producing a schedule of topics, particularly mental health, physical health, and the issues that plague our community in terms of infectious disease, infectious behavior that we see daily in our community. Because for me to see a young man with his pants hanging down, I'm thinking mentally something is wrong here. And to see our women give up their womenhood and their motherhood to take on a behavior of that's unnatural for what you were created for.
That's right.
But we'll have a roster, a calendar of events of what will be taking place at the center on the website. And I encourage people to go on the website if you are computer literate. If not, we will have a schedule at the center. If you drop by and pick up one.
Right, if not, we can overcome those things.
Yes, we can.
Or we can assist others in overcoming them. How important? Can you guys come back with a progress report?
Yes, we will.
Or is it okay to call it a progress report?
Yes.
Somebody can say, well, we said this on the air, and here's where we are today, that kind of thing. So we've talked about divisiveness, distrust, law, and all that. How important and how hard is this to combat is love and trust for African Americans in terms of what we are talking about, problems that we face. Anybody?
First of all, you have to be really dedicated. Brother Omar and I made an agreement, and upon my mother's death, on her deathbed, I promised her that I would donate the rest of my life working and giving back what was given to me. And that takes finance, Brother Talut. So I take my corporate dollars that I make and put it back into the community. We've had others to donate to the center as well. We have professional people that are willing to give back their time to help some young person, if they're interested in medicine, if they're interested in learning carpentry or bricklayer. We have those programs in place and people ready to do that. all too often some people say, well, we just don't know if that's really the route to go, or if they are really sincere about that. But if you have a trade or a skill, if you're a former teacher, you're sitting at home and you want to give something back, believe me, Memphis Kwanzaa has a place for you. And all too often, we're not prejudiced in terms of dollars, because they all have the same color. So if corporate would love to donate to a program, I guarantee you, Brother Wallace, you will be able to come to the center and see us in the community trying to get those young people in South Memphis together.
Okay, very good. Brother Baruti, we have about 10, 15 seconds. Can you wrap it up for us? In terms of
If you want to be on our contact list, you can text me your email address to 901-239-1555. And our gala is coming up this coming Saturday. Tickets are $40. Seating is limited. Also call 239-1555 if you'd like to get a ticket.
All right, thank you. And do not forget to send your donations for continued service and information. P.O. Box 41573. And we will be coming back pretty soon as you guys are ready.
Thank you for having us.
No problem. Anytime. Anytime.